Let's Talk Story podcast. Thank you, everyone, for coming on with us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. We are here to walk in faith, healing, and purpose through stories that remind us that we are never, ever alone. I'm your host, Michelle Ibala Rosa Kawano, and today we have the honor of speaking with an incredible woman whose journey embodies grace, resilience, and gratitude, Miss Daisy. She's a keynote speaker and trauma stylist mentor who has turned her pain into purpose, helping others rediscover kindness, confidence, and self expression after trauma. Her story of rebuilding her life, overcoming immense loss, and using her voice to empower others is nothing short of inspiring. So, grab a cup of coffee or some tea and take a breath. And let's walk in aloha together as we welcome Miss Daisy. Thank you so much for being here. How are
Thank
you?
you. I'm good. Good morning.
Good morning. And you are in
Australia, Melbourne. So
Melbourne,
it's
Australia,
7:30 my time.
7:30. And from Hawaii to Melbourne, if everyone, if you don't know, it is like 20 plus hours in the future. So I am talking to Miss Daisy in the future. Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
I
Yes,
find that
Saturday morning.
yes. So great, so great. So
Yes.
why don't we just hop on in and we go through what I call the Aloha Always framework. So I always do with all of my guests because I know that aloha is more than just a greeting. I was born and raised in Hawaii, but when I prayed for God to help me write my book, Walking in Aloha, He said, I gave you everything in aloha. And I was like, what do you mean? I didn't understand that because as I grew up in Hawaii, we learned to live aloha. We learned that aloha is what we call pono, and it is righteous. We do everything right, you do everything good. That is just the way you live life, and that's the way that we taught, and we were taught to live. And I was like, what do you mean you gave me everything in aloha? As I was writing it out, God gave me it in affirmations and actions, leadership and love, overcoming obstacles, health and healing, and acute awareness. And that is how He walked me through the time of domestic violence. And I am now able to share that with the world. And as I speak to people through my podcast, with people all over the world, I've spoken through to people like in Saudi Arabia, and I mean, I'm blown away at the distance this little island girl on this little island in the middle of the Pacific can reach. But
Wow.
I find that everyone walks in aloha in their own way. So through the Aloha Always framework, we can see how you walk through aloha and honoring your story. So, Miss Daisy, let's start with affirmations and actions. You shared that we talked about this before, but you can share with our audience now that your mother taught you the power of gratitude at a young age. How has that early lesson shaped the way you affirm yourself and take action in your healing journey?
So my mum, she was absolutely magnificent. But at the age of about 15, she pulled me aside and she gave me a notebook and a diary. And she said to me, "Sweetheart, I want you to, every day moving forward, write down 3 things you're most grateful for and the 3 most memorable things in the day. And then not to be materialistic things. And you just do this every day moving forward." And I did this, and I did this every day from the age of 15. And even on my toughest days, I did this. And what I found was, even on really hard days, it was a way to redirect my mind back to what was actually positive on those days, but also what I was actually grateful for. And it put some perspective onto those days. And the fact my mum had actually reiterated they weren't to be materialistic things. And I remember, even on the night she actually died, I sat there, and I didn't get home till about 5 a.m. that night. And I sat on the end of the bed, and I just grabbed a piece of paper, and I still wrote down what I was most grateful for and the three most positive things in my day. And it was just a way of stabilizing myself in that mindset. And I really feel that it's been a way of building my resilience through a positive mindset, even through really some of my darkest times. And it sounds corny, but I'm actually really grateful to my mum for giving me that tool. So, yeah, I really do believe that it can give you resilience and those tools and those affirmations to guide you through negative times.
That is so beautiful. I know the power of writing it down and,
Mm,
you know, like just how your mom said, not the materialistic things. Because
yeah,
we can so easily do that and write down all the materialistic things. But when we can go
exactly.
deeper and look at the things that are not, right? So that is good that she actually pointed that out to you and said things that you're thankful for, what you're grateful for, but not the materialistic things. That
Yeah.
is so good. I'm gonna have to take that up and I'm gonna have to start that. I do gratitude writing, but not three every day. That is so good. So when you mentor others through trauma, what daily affirmations or practices do you recommend to help them take their first courageous step toward rebuilding? I know you already mentioned the writing of gratitude. What else do you recommend?
Because I work with people around trauma, and so quite often it shows up around burnout and stress, I always bring it back to very gentle affirmations. So things around safety and peace. So I am safe, I feel peaceful, and also I encourage my clients to actually stand in the mirror and smile at themselves. So, this is actually an affirmation that's about using your energy, your beauty, and also your feelings. So, over a period of 30 days, it's actually bringing a joyful experience into their body energetically, because it's raising their vibration as well. It's not just words. And I also like them to use touch on their body when they're saying it. So they're bringing that feel of safety when they say it. I've always been an affectionate person. And I think anyone that has been through domestic violence, they crave, they nurture, they want that affection. And it all does come down to their self awareness as well. So just saying, I am safe with their hands on their own heart. So they're bringing the awareness back to themselves. I am at peace. So they're also relaxing their nervous system. Those sort of affirmations are really calming for themselves as well.
That is so nice. I remember even for myself, I did that a lot, you know, because it does. It just to put your own hand on your heart and to just hold yourself like that.
Yeah.
It
I'm
brings
also a
that
big
peace.
fan of the
Yes.
self.
Yes, exactly. To say, like you are safe, you are
Yeah,
held, you know. And I was on another podcast with someone else, and they were talking about how you can look at yourself and how that raises, those hormones in you. And
yeah,
it's those feel good hormones, right? If you can look at yourself, you can smile, you can feel that. And sometimes I have to say it's like some days we walk around and you look at people around you and they're not smiling. They're not happy, and if you're waiting for that on the outside world, sometimes you're going to miss it. So if you can do it for yourself, that is so important. That is big. And that's a huge step for someone who, like for myself, went through the domestic violence and went through things where you feel like below everyone else. You feel like your self esteem has just gotten crushed, right? But when you
exactly.
can do that for yourself, you just raise that in your own being, and it's so helpful. So good. Thank you so much for that. So, leadership and love.
Yes.
I know for myself, it was hard because I had to learn to love myself in order to lead myself out of that situation. And that's where the leadership and love came from. So, you've turned your pain into leadership through compassion and advocacy. What does leading with love look like in your life today?
Well, leading always comes with yourself first. And leading for me, especially with love, comes with kindness and appreciation because it's your values as well. And you cannot go wrong if you lead with love and kindness. And these are just fundamental. And whether or not you believe in God, the universe, you have to believe in something higher. You have to believe in something that has to lead you, and therefore you're led from that, and you serve from that, and that's what you lead from. That's what I believe. And then you lead with appreciation, and that gives you a giving heart, and it just flows. And if you lead from this, your business is going to rise in so many meaningful ways. And I'm talking beyond monetary. And that's what ultimate success is. That's what I feel. And for me, you have to come from a servant's heart.
Yes, that is so true. I always go back to the fact that, you know, I'm a Christian, and my my go-to is when Jesus served his disciples and washed their feet, and they were like, "No, no, Master, you can't do that. You can't wash my feet." But he was just leading by example, right?
Yeah,
If he couldn't show them that he was that kind of a person, how would they do it? How would they have gone and did all the things that they've done when he left? So it was, to me, for I don't know how many years of my life, that was my go-to in how I serve people, is because I know where leadership is actually serving. You cannot serve anyone if you cannot, you cannot lead anyone if you cannot be that servant to anyone. So
yeah.
you have to lead by example. So that's so good. You, sorry, you often speak about kindness and gratitude. How can we use these tools of leadership in a world that often feels divided or disconnected?
Kindness, it's a silent leadership. It doesn't need applause. Kindness, it's contagious. Gratitude grounds us. Gratitude's internal. It's a mindset. If you choose compassion and you choose this over criticism and you choose all of these things, it's going to have a ripple effect. And for me, all of these things are ultimately love. And all of these things are going to build connection. And connection is the key to disconnect. And I am a firm believer in connection. And whether it be picking up the phone or writing thank you notes, having an face to face conversation, spending more quality time with people, bringing back old fashioned values. I think these are all tools that we need. I do believe in AI. I do believe in all these modern day things, but I also believe in some of our old fashioned ways, and they do have a place in our new society because we need to show people that connection, conversations, human touch, being gentle, and love have a place in our society so that the world can come back together. Because otherwise, we will all stay divided. And ultimately, love is what unites us. And
Yeah.
right now, we're just seeing division everywhere. And kindness and gratitude and appreciation just has a ripple effect throughout the world. And I always say to people, it's pretty simple. It starts with you. If you choose happy, you're
Mhm.
just going to spread it. So choose happy.
That is so good. That's so true. I travel the world now, and that is one thing that it always, always is the common denominator no matter where I go is that kindness, is that,
Yeah.
compassion and love. It all boils down to love. And I've gone to Africa, and where was I? I was in Turkey, and I travel with my essential oils. And there was a time when I was just, yeah, and I was going to buy, like some trinkets and stuff and these beautiful beads that was in Africa. And I was there at that stand the day before, and I noticed that the lady that I was talking to was now like limping. And I was like, "Oh, are you okay?" And she's like, "Oh, okay, I'm okay." And then she pointed to her ankle, and she said, I I twist my leg, and I was like, "Oh no." And I said, "Hold a moment. I have," I said, "I have some oil back at my room, and I could just help you with that. I'll put some on, and, I'll leave the bottle with you, and, it'll help. At least it'll help until you feel better." And then she's like, "No, no, no, no." And this stand was like right outside of our hotel. So I knew it was not even a problem for me to go run and get it. I was like, "No, no, really." And so to do that and show it crosses barriers, language barriers. It
Yeah.
crosses those, barriers where people are like, how do they know what you're going to do? How do they know that they can trust you? Right? Because it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter that you don't really speak the language. It doesn't matter if you're, like both of you are struggling with the English to get across. You're like, they know that you care enough to do something. And I was able to help her, and I left the bottle with her, and she was like, "Oh my goodness," and I was like, "No, use it. It's okay." And then I did the same thing when I was in Turkey, because our guide, he was over there, and he kept telling us that, you know, we'll sit down and he'll talk and he'll tell us, right? We'll walk to a certain place, and then we'll sit here. We sat at the bench, and he'll tell us about the things. And then I noticed that he was rubbing his knee.
Love it.
And then I was like, "Are you okay?" And he said that he took another group hiking before us, the day before coming to us, but he did not want to cancel with us. So he came anyway.
Oh,
That's what I thought, right? See, right there, you see how important it is. He didn't want to
yeah,
cancel last minute. And, it's like, I know financially too, that is big for them. They don't want to
yeah.
just cancel out. And it's like, I totally understand. And I said, when we get back, because we were already gone, we were already drove away from the hotel. When we get back, I'm going to give you this thing, and it'll help, And he was so happy. He like waited, and because I had a tiny little bottle, I carry it with me in my flask, because I have a pocket on the side of my water bottle, and it was just so tiny. I'm like, I cannot leave you with this. This is like nothing, but it'll help you right now as we do our tour. But I'll give you a whole bottle when we get back. And he waited. He sat in the lobby
I love it.
waiting for it. But I'm like, that is the thing, is that just lead with that kindness, lead with that
Yeah,
gratitude, lead with love, right? Do
so
that. It is just so important. It starts with you. It does. And like I said, it crosses those barriers. It
yeah.
crosses barriers. So I love it. So glad you're here.
Me too.
All right. So O in Aloha is overcoming obstacles, and we all have our obstacles.
Oh, we do.
Yes. Your story includes surviving profound trauma and still finding strength to rebuild. And that is something I value, because I know how that is. How did you shift from surviving to thriving?
Well, firstly, I want to say I think especially in today's society, everybody has been through something. And be be it for some people a hill, some people it's like a mountain, for some people it's like Mount Everest. We just have to accept everyone has been through something. And it's just important we don't judge, because we're all individuals, we all process it differently, and we just have to respect. So I think it's important that we all just learn to listen now. I've realised I'm quite a lateral thinker. And when I was young, my mum used to say to me, the universe only gives you what you're strong enough to handle. And I remember just before my mum passed away, mum, I had got really sick to the point I died. And she was sitting there and she said to me, God, I can't believe how strong you are, darling. And at the time, I remember thinking, but I'm not that strong. What are you talking about? But at the time, I had actually been through it. Like, I'd been through domestic violence, I'd been through rape, I had died, I was 38 kilos, I'd been told I would work again. Like, I'd actually been through a fair bit. And the weird thing was, I hadn't even been through half the stuff that I'd now been through. And I just always at the back of my head had this theory, well, the universe only throws me what I'd been through. And I suppose I also held on to that sense of gratitude my whole life. And I suppose as I sort of continue to go through everything, I realized I had that choice, that I could allow it to imprison me. I could allow it to be that person where I was woe is me, and but I didn't want to be her. I wanted to be happy. I wanted to live. I wanted to be joy. I didn't want my trauma to define me. And I suppose that's why I just feel so passionate about living beyond your experiences and just taking the good from everything, because you do only have one life. And I've seen so much that, and I've seen so many people lose their lives now so young. And I just want to live and soak it up now. And I don't know, I was in Paris, and I know what the French are renowned for, but everyone kept coming up to me going, why are you smiling? And I was like, because I'm happy. And they're like, oh, can we have some of what you're having? I was like, yeah, sure, it's for sale. And I don't know, there's this just, I have this sense of happiness and wonder, and I love that. And that's what I just strive to give my clients now.
That is so good. You
Yeah,
know, that is so good because yeah, we can get stuck in
yeah,
that, and to choose to not be there. It is big. It is huge for someone to say, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be in that place anymore. When I was going through the domestic violence, I always say I was stuck in the silence of domestic violence, and it's like, it's your choice to get out. A lot of times, some people can say, oh, it's not my choice. I can't do it. I can't do it. But when you can get safe, after that, you can choose the way you change your mindset. You can change the way that you think about things. Like you said, you didn't want to be that person. you know?
No.
Yeah. So to choose to say, no, I want to live, I want to live my best life. I was just on a call with this amazing young woman, and she, oh my gosh, she's like, I was floored because she is bubbly, she's bouncing around, she's like a Guinness Book Award winner, or however you say that. She won 3 Guinness
Guinness Book of
Book
World
records,
Records.
right? And she's like, for the most US things that I can do. And it's like on hula hooping or whatever, right? So she's like, if I can choose to do whatever, I'm going to choose to do whatever I want because I want to live. She was
Yeah,
diagnosed with MS. And she said, I don't want people to ask me, how did I survive this? I want people to ask, how did I thrive?
yeah,
Yeah, so it's a choice no matter where you are, no matter if you're past it or in it, like how she is, it's a choice. So good, so good. Ah, I applaud you.
I applaud you too.
So good. So, what would you say to someone listening who feels like the mountains in front of them is too high to climb? Too
One
high.
step at a time. It's not about the summit, it's about the journey, it's about the growth. And you don't need to know the whole path, you just need to trust each move. And the universe has your back, but you've got to believe in yourself. And this is going to sound hard. Have the courage to ask for help,
Hmm.
and help will show up. I have faced mountains that seemed impossible. Like, if I took myself back to when I was a child, and if I said to her, "This is what you were going to face, little one," that child would have gone running back to wherever she came from. Well, probably not, because it would have looked scary. But the whole point is, Mum always said we were a vessel, and inside's a soul. Our bodies are like superhuman. That's why we have to treat our bodies like a luxury vehicle, because these vessels can bounce back from anything. Our souls are built of steel, and they will go on and on and on. And our souls are on this journey, and it's magical, and they're energetic, and they're as only as young as we feel. So, if you fill that soul with love and energy, and you nurture this vessel, you will get far. But there will always be hurdles. You will always be healing. And that's what I teach my clients. Because you'd have to be naive to think life doesn't go on, healing doesn't end. There's always going to be something. Do you think a bad thing's not going to happen to me again? Something bad will happen, a death will happen again. I might get sick again. I was sick last week. Things do happen. It's called life. But it's how you approach it. It's how you, and sometimes we just get better at it.
It's true.
So it's just how. And sometimes, as I said before, it's when you decide to choose you.
So good. That is so good. Just to take that in because your mom was a very wise woman.
She was, I somehow think she was a bit beyond her years.
Hearing it, kind of feels like my dad. But just to think about that, like we we can choose, we we can do all of that. We can, but it's like, what what are we really listening to? We need to take that one step, that one small step. Yeah, just one step. Because if we're not willing to even take that one step, then we'll be stuck, right? But knowing that even in those small incremental steps, we can go so far, but we have to take that step. There has to be some kind of movement. It's when we stay stuck, it's when we stop. That's when the progression ends, right? But
Yep.
yeah, just to know that take that take that step. No matter how small you think it is, you never know, right? Maybe when I when I was walking the Great Wall, I didn't realize that the Great Wall is not just all flat,
Oh,
the
it's
no,
really.
no. Yeah, and the steps go like from a little tiny step to a giant big step. It is all different size steps, and I was like, this is amazing. But I was so intrigued at the fact that this goes on for miles and miles that I just wanted to keep going. And as I'm over there and I'm like using the rope that's there, I turn around and there's a mom and there's a little child. I swear the baby had to be about 2. And yes.
I
And
love it.
and the baby's just like climbing up these steps, and they look around, take the one that they need to take, go around and lift the little leg to the next one. And I'm like, that is how we should accept life. Because yeah, there's going to be small steps, there's going to be big steps, but if we can just be like that little child and be like, where do I go next, which step do I take next, and just reach. I was like, that is amazing. That's
Mm.
why I love that I travel the world, because I thank God that He gives me glimpses like that teach me life lessons, not just traveling.
Yeah,
So good, so good.
more people should travel.
Yes, they should. They should.
Opens your eyes.
It does. I love it. So, H in Aloha is health and healing. When I was at my worst, I tell people now that I understood that I held on to my hurts, I
Mm.
held on to the trauma in weight. That's how I held on to it. As I released all of that pain, as I released all of that, I was able to shed like 80 pounds. And people were like, oh my gosh, it's like a small child, you know? And if you think about it, I was like, truly that is, it's like, and so the amazing effects that had on my body, I knew that there were, that was the only thing, like when I was writing it out, that was part of the entire healing is health. You have to look at your own health.
Yeah.
So healing isn't always linear, it's layered and it takes time. How did you nurture your emotional and physical healing after so much loss and pain?
Um, as I said, like someone I love, like a luxury product, um, with kindness, learning to rest without guilt. Um, I think the ultimate thing for me was giving up smoking,
Hmm.
um, and also realizing that healing is not glamorous. You know, you go through so many different stages. It's about compassion, especially on yourself, putting boundaries in, really learning how to fall in love with yourself, the struggles that your body goes through, learning how to fully express yourself again. I mean, I look at photos of myself 5 years ago, I look older. It's quite incredible. Um, just treating yourself with softness, with elegance, putting rituals in, just for you, just treating yourself with beauty and just being kind to you as well. It's so important because, as I said, your body is like your vehicle for life. You have to nurture this. Um, and you've got to feed it, you've got to exercise it, and you've got to do everything that's right by it.
Yeah, I love that. Like a luxury vehicle. I just I was on another call and I love that I talk to so many people because then I get these nuggets and he just painted this picture of a brand new Porsche, leather seats, things like that.
Well,
And
that's how I gave up smoking. I said to myself, would I put tar into a Maserati? And I
yeah,
went, no, I wouldn't. And so that's how I
started to
and
look
I
at it.
literally just went, no. And so I threw all my cigarettes out.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah,
Yeah,
because when he painted that picture and he was like, you sitting in there and you smell the leather and you're like, ooh, you know? Yeah, so looking at it like that, like if you were to treat yourself like that, this
yeah,
luxury vehicle, and how you would take care of it, you wouldn't just, like you said, you wouldn't put tar in a Maserati.
no,
So that is so good. That's so good. But I love those visuals because sometimes we need those pictures in our head to be like,
yeah.
no, I won't do that. So, like you did
Maybe
for
if I
yourself,
mention
get,
Maseratis enough, they'll give me one too.
yeah, but like how you said, just even that image of doing that, you're like, no way. So, you threw away all your cigarettes. And
Yeah,
that was that. Yeah,
yeah,
so good. So, you mentioned learning to walk again,
yeah.
physically and spiritually. How did
Mm.
that experience change your understanding of grace and perseverance? And give us a little bit of a backstory on what was that.
Yeah, my look, my mum had lots of good qualities which she gave me, like her looks, her cooking skills, her kindness, but can't all be perfect. So she also gave me her bone degeneration. So about 5 years ago, I got some back degeneration. So I had two discs and a vertebra removed. So for about 3 months, I was bedridden. And after that, I had to learn to walk again. Um, it was during COVID as well. So it was limited house visits and support. Um, it was it was hard. Um, it was grounding. It was perseverance. Um, I really learned to laugh at myself in a whole new way. Um, and it reminded me of once again how strong our bodies actually are. And for probably about 3 years after, I just used to film myself walking and post it on social media. And I don't think people realized or put two and two together. And then about 6 months ago, I posted now doing 10,000 steps a day and carrying my shopping. And that was like a huge milestone for me, because to get to that point was such a long journey. Um, and then on my recent trip away to be doing about 18,000 steps, you know, it's just like these personal achievements. And I think so many people take for granted those little things like walking, um, just walking your dog, until something so basic is taken away. Um, yeah, but it was kind of a magical experience as well, because it made me reconnect with nature again. And yeah, there were special times in it as well.
That is so good. You know, that whole thing of learning how to walk and how you said, I kind of sensed that in you when you started talking. You almost went back into that. Like, I remember it was hard, you know,
Yeah.
and it, in your demeanor, in your face, I kind of saw that, like the hard parts, you know, and I totally understand. I feel you. I had a hip replacement done, and it was supposed to be like a great thing. They lengthened my leg, so my left
Oh,
leg is
wow.
now, yeah, the same length as my right, and it was shorter, 2.25 inches for almost my whole life. So to have the same length legs, the first thing I did after surgery was I literally, I'm like all dazed, and I wanted to pull the blanket away from my feet just to see my
Just to
feet.
see
Yes, because I knew what he was going to do, and I wanted to see my legs equal.
even.
And yeah, so that was like a highlight for me. And then all kind of things started going wrong. So
Yeah.
it was like, you
It's
know,
actually the anniversary of the day I had the surgery today.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow, congratulations, you know.
Yeah.
And then
I was very lucky because my uncle paid for the surgery.
wow.
Yeah. So, there's a bit of, because I lost my uncle 2 years later. So there's also a bit of gratitude at play there today
Wow,
as
I
well.
can see that. That is so good. You know,
Yeah.
to it's almost like honoring to him that now you can count your steps. And people don't know that. People don't, like, everyone in the world is not going to know how much each step means to you when you can go
Yeah.
back to the fact that there was a time when I couldn't even do this. And then now I
No.
did 10,000. And then I'm doing 18,000. You know, I'm carrying my
Yeah.
bags. You know, those
Oh,
kind of things.
when I was walking around Central Park in New York, I was like filming my feet. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Because like in 2009, I was told I'd never work again and I'd never travel again. And I was like filming my feet going, oh gosh, I'm walking around New York. And I was
Yes,
told I'd never
see?
travel again, I'd never walk again. Oh my gosh, I'm in New York. I'm in Central Park. I was like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, see, I know. Oh my gosh, I can just imagine how elated you felt. Like,
Yeah,
I'm walking in this
I know.
park,
I
you
broke
know, I'm
down in Paris in
traveling.
tears of gratitude. It was so bad.
And like I said, no one can understand. No one can
Yeah,
understand how that is, you know? And so I'm like, that is so, so good. It's so good and it's so real. And that's one thing that
yeah,
I love about walking in Aloha Let's Talk Story is because when people come on, there's no fake, there's no hiding things. You just tell it like it is, and it truly, truly does help other people to know that I'm not alone in this. This happened, to other people. So it is just so important. And I'm so glad that you're
mm,
able to do that. I'm so glad for the steps and each step that you can take. And I celebrate you in each of those steps. Oh, so good. And I was at a retreat. I came back on Monday, but they talked about this thing. When you can't see what is in your future, you ask to borrow the lens of someone who can, someone
yeah.
who has already gone through it, and who can see that in you because they know, they've seen it. And so I'm gonna ask to borrow your lens.
Go for it.
Because I know I have a road to walk, and I still have that
We all
road to
do.
walk. So
We all do.
when I
We
when
all
I come to you, I'll be like, Miss Daisy, I'm going through my surgery again, and I'm gonna have to learn to walk again. So I'm borrowing your lens.
do. Definitely. Definitely.
All right.
And then we'll go and walk through Paris together.
Oh, yes, Paris. I'll be in Paris next summer. So yes.
Will you? So will I.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh, we're gonna have to try to meet up.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Well, I might be
Okay.
in Hawaii soon, so
Oh, true, true. Look
yeah,
me up. I'm on Oahu. There's many islands. There's 8 of them. So be on the right island. I can meet with
huge.
you. Okay. So acute awareness, the last A in Aloha. You've spoken about rediscovering kindness in your world after your mother's passing. That is truly so hard. I don't have both my parents already, so I know how that is. What awakened your awareness that healing could also mean helping others heal? What?
Well, I had a great teacher.
Mm,
Even though I lived with domestic violence around me, I was surrounded by kindness and giving. And I'm not talking materialistic. I was brought up writing thank you notes. I was brought up with a nanny. We would walk along and she would stop to pick daisies and put a daisy chain around my head. I was brought up with a great aunt where we would walk and she'd just start skipping out of nowhere. I was brought up with Sunday dinners at my uncle's that were done every Sunday, little roasts. My mum used to put little love letters into my lunch boxes. It was just kindness overload. After mum died, I don't know, it all sort of disappeared. But yet, at the same time, I was given this roadmap. And so I instilled it into my first business. And then all this kindness and gratitude and dignity just flowed on from that. And then it grew into my styling business. And then it went into my coaching business. And now it's flowed into my company and my life. And now it's gone into my sharing my stories and my keynote speeches as well. And now it's healing people as well. And it's deepened my awareness as well. And I continue to heal myself with it. So it's just all around me. Does that sort of make sense?
It
And
does. Yeah.
I don't know, it's rather beautiful. And it's kind of made a 360 degree. And to be honest, I think my mum up there would be sort of floating around going, I'm really, really proud of her. I think she's doing really well.
I think so too. I pretty
And
much
I
know
think
so. Yes.
and I think my Nani and Auntie would all be going, yay, good on her.
Yes. And your uncle is just applauding your walk, everything that you're doing.
Yeah,
So good. Yeah. That is one thing, like, we need to take that time and realize that there are people that may not be with us now. Like I said, both my mom
oh
and
do
dad are
they?
not here, but they celebrate us, you know. And I have my aunt who's still alive, and she tells me that all the time. Your mom and dad would be so proud, you
Oh
know.
yeah,
So that is so good. When you
they're
said
they're in
that
here.
after your mom, things just seem to disappear, but yet when you started your business and things just seem to flow, I believe that things don't really just disappear. It's just that in our hurt, we kind of don't see it anymore.
Yeah.
But when we allow it to come back, when we
Oh
allow
yeah.
those things to flow again, it comes back in a rush. It comes back in like we open floodgates, right? Because I just, like I mentioned before, I was at a retreat with Lisa Nichols, and it was called When Your Soul Speaks. And
Yes.
it was just so amazing because for years upon years, I was not able to remember my dreams. I would wake up and I would want to write it down. I had a book on the side of my bed because I know the importance of writing your dreams down. But every time I woke up, I was like, mm, shoot, I couldn't remember. I would know that I dreamt something, but I couldn't remember it enough to write anything down. All I knew is that I was dreaming something. And so I always felt like I was missing out on a message somehow, right? But ever since When My Soul Speaks, I came home, and that night I dreamt and I woke up in amazement that I could remember the dream with detail. And I thought, oh, I'm going to use the bathroom and I'm going to come back and I know I'm going to forget it all. And it didn't happen. And I was just so amazed because it is when we allow it to come back, it opens up like a floodgate. Because I know I prayed for that and having that gift of having the dreams again, and now, and I can have that back, and you can have the gratitude and all of that kindness flow back again. So Like I said, it's not that it's gone and not like it
Oh
disappeared, but
gosh,
it's just we needed to open up those blocked areas in our life so that it can come back.
you just need that alignment, as
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people talk about. Before I went away, I had the most spectacular dream of my mum. I could see her, I could touch her. And she was talking about coming away with me. And I actually woke up and I was in tears of gratitude. And all I felt was warmth and love. And I was just like, "Mm, no, that wasn't a dream. That was that was her." And I hadn't had a dream like that probably since I lived up in Dalesford. And I just felt for that whole day, I walked around with a skip in my step. And I was like, woohoo! Yes, go me.
That is so good.
I think some dreams can just be magical.
Yeah, yeah, that is so true. So good. In this season of your life, what are you most aware of about yourself, your mission, and the legacy you're building through your voice and story?
Um, I think I'm most aware that elegance, gratitude, kindness are not just my values, but they're my lifestyle too. And my mission is to remind others that life after trauma can be beautiful and structured and luxurious and, more importantly, balanced. And through Miss Daisy and Co., I'm building a movement of joyfulness and courage, and that friends can be as important as family too. And also, where elegance is a new strength, along with gratitude and appreciation, and to practice kindness just where everywhere you go. Um, and also that safety and trust are just part of love and being human. And it's just pretty simple. And we all just need to remember that moving forward. And that we just have to just embrace it all and just start living. Yeah.
So good.
And at the
Oh,
end of the day, we're all just humans and be
yes,
kind.
humans on this big, beautiful planet.
Yeah.
So good. Well, thank you so much, Mahalo Miss Daisy, for
Thank
sharing
you.
your powerful, powerful journey, your heart with us today. Your story reminds us that kindness, gratitude, and love are not just words, they're lifelines that carry us through even our darkest valleys. So, friends, remember no matter what you've been through, no matter your story still matters. You were created by the Creator to be a creative, to shine a light, and to live your God given potential. Miss Daisy, how can everyone keep in touch with you?
Well, by my Instagram page at Miss Daisy, miss.daisy.and.co.
Perfect. I will drop that in the comments, everyone, and you can connect with her because kindness exudes from Miss Daisy. And like I
Love
said,
that.
like I said, if you need to borrow someone's lenses, sometimes we have a hard time finding that in the world. You have someone now that you can reach out to. And that's the thing that I love to do, is to make those connections, right? You make those connections, and no matter where we are in the world, you're never ever alone. So until next time, walk in faith, walk in purpose, and always walk in aloha. Thank you, Miss Daisy.
Thank
Aloha.
you. Mwah.